Yes, well, at the time of the big raid on Dresden, the air raid, I was really, with my party, attached to the brickworks, but we had been moved out, and we were seconded back to the post office job. And at the night of the raid, in the evening, we went down into Dresden, about 60 of us, to do a night shift in the goods yards, humping the mail sacks from rail trucks. And while we were there, we suddenly saw that the air raid warning went. Well, it often went when they were going to the RAF were bombing Chemnitz or Leipzig or Magdeburg, anywhere around there. But on this night, we saw flares being dropped, and suddenly the aircraft, which we reckoned were the Pathfinder aircraft, they dropped a whole circle of flares, parachute flares, and the place was alight, like daylight. Now, we realised that this was the night of Dresden was going to catch a packet, and it did, because following those were bombers, and we heard them coming up. Now, we tried to convince the guards that we should go back to camp, but they wouldn't have anything to do with it. To get a German soldier to disobey orders would be quite out of the question. Es kommt nicht in die Frage. And so we had to go, we were ordered to go down into a shelter with the civilian workers. The shelter was under a platform, and it was only about, in imperial, 12 inches of concrete, paving stone more. Well, we realised that if these bombers started dropping bombs on the railway station, we hadn't got a hope. So we did all we could to convince the guards we ought to go back to camp, and we put a good word in for him, because he had to face his commandant. In the end, when the bombs, the fire bombs started falling, the guards realised that we were into trouble. So the senior guard with them, the corporal, he decided to take a risk and go back. Then they didn't know the way back really, because the place where we would have gone out was on fire. So we showed them the way up the track. We went along the railway track, and we got up onto the main road there, Freiburger Strasse, which was a main arterial road through Dresden at that time. And we went along there, and we got back to our camp. And it was a case of knocking on the door to go in to camp. Not knocking on the door to go out. we pleaded to go in. So we went back in, and of course all the people on the day shift were all taking cover. They dug slip trenches in the garden, and they were all taking cover there from the raid. So we joined them. Of course, from there we could see the fires coming up all around, and Dresden was really on fire. But there were very few HE bombs dropped, high explosive bombs dropped that night. It was the next day, when at midday, when the American Air Force turned up, and they came in force, and they dropped high explosive bombs all over the part that was on fire, and took the heart out of the old Dresden Altstadt was really wiped out. Everything. There wasn't a road visible. They were all covered in rubble and everything. Humanity as well. And the trams were all had all been caught. and they were all, had been on fire. They were all burnt out, just where they stood, and full of people. They were just roasted in tin cans, really. So that was what happened there. But somehow or other, it didn't worry us too much. We expected this was war. And so often the Germans had said to us when we complained, they used to say, Krieg ist Krieg, war is war. So we were able to answer back to them when they said, this is furchtbar, schrecklich.
Schrecklich, yeah. Dreadful.
And we said, Krieg is Krieg. They didn't like that, but it was true, you see. So we at the time, it didn't worry us that the whole city had been gutted and so many people had been killed. It wasn't until later on we realised that so many of these people were Ausländer, Leute, and they were foreign workers and foreign people. A lot of German army, of course, were lost. And I remember a day or two later when we had to go down and try and find and dig out the streets, clearing the rubble. I saw a young German soldier, he obviously coming home on leave. And he came to Dresden and he just stood amongst the rubble and he was trying to find the street he lived in. The street had gone and he was in tears, a young German soldier, standing there with his rifle and his kickback, looking for his street. No hope of finding it. A whole place.